What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be doing something completely different than normal. A Q&A video for just the random questions that I get in my inbox, and some of these are quite humorous. Hold on just a second. Oh my god, I sneezed 3 times. I think my eyeballs blew out of my head. You guys are lucky. I muted the microphone. It sounded like I stepped on a mouse. Oh my god. Okay, that was a terrible introduction. I don't really care though. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we're talking about Q&A, the random questions that I get in my inbox, you guys. I've wrote some of them down. The first one, and I get this one surprisingly a lot more than you would think, is, will you marry me? No, sir, I will not marry you. Sorry. I don't know you. I don't want to know you. You're weird. You don't just ask people to marry you. Okay? I will not fly to your house. I will not lick on your spouse. I will not be a mother to your children. I will not smell your socks. I will not whatever. I'm sounding like a Dr. Seuss book right now. Okay? Not going to happen, dude. So stop hitting me up in your inbox asking me, will you marry me? Will you do this with me? No. Motherfucker, even when it's far to right, I love you with the SimCity Build It roads. No. No. All right? Now that we've got that out of the way, all the other people asking me to marry them, no. I don't care what your pension is. I don't care how much money you have. Not going to happen. All right? Now, moving on. Next one. How tall are you? I'm very short, okay? Like, just barely above a legal midget. I mean, when I get in my car, I have to pull the seat all the way forward. And I can still barely reach the fucking pedals. I'm like 5'3", all right? Do I carry a firearm? Yes, I do. A lot of people ask me that one, actually. I do carry a firearm because I have a bunch of psycho stalkers in my life. And because Marysville, Washington, which is where I'm from, which is going to be the next question, because a lot of people ask me that as well, is actually not very safe. Washington's pretty bad. I mean, it's no Detroit, but it's not just all fun and roses, I can tell you that. There's a lot of psycho shit that goes on here. I do run the crime page for Marysville, Washington, which a lot of people here know that, obviously. I also run missing persons for Washington State. So, there's that. What else was there? Let me look at this list. Some of these are just ridiculous. Like, will you send me your socks? Are you kidding me, dude? Like, for how much? I can send you anybody's socks. Would you like them dipped in dirt first? Like, what the fucking hell is wrong with people? And to think, these people free roam with us, all right? They do. They go out into the world, and they're out there, and they're free roaming, wanting to smell people's socks. And to think, that's not even the weirdest shit I've heard and been told and been asked. You don't even want to know some of the things I've been asked. Okay? Like, not even appropriate for YouTube. Like, people are fucking sick, man. I'm sure many of you guys know if you're a girl. Okay, next one. Let's see. How old were you when you first were introduced to a street life? I'm not really sure what you mean by that exactly. But I would say I was about 8, maybe 9, when I first got kicked out of my house and was just wandering the streets, sleeping outside. I mean, I had a home to go back to, but it wasn't pleasant. So I would just, walk around and Sometimes I'd sleep on the roof of the house if I wanted to, because there was an easy way to get up to it. There was a swing set, you could walk across the top of it, and then there was like a flat part to this roof, and you could sleep up there, and I slept up there a lot, actually, when I was younger. So, yeah, I would say about 8 or 9. Were you good in school? No. Actually, no. And I've got a story for you guys. So, elementary school was probably, let's see, so I was put into school 1 year early, right? Because the way my birthday fell, because my birthday is September 14th, my birthday was just after the cutoff. So they enrolled me in private school when I was 4 years old. And they had me doing like ridiculous amounts of stuff for a 4-year-old. I mean, like reciting all the Bible lines, doing cursive. My first spelling word was the word because. I mean, for a 4-year-old, that's a little ridiculous, right? Anyways, so because it was a private school, we had to wear, blouses and skirts, which was absolutely miserable. So then I was put into public school, and when I got to about 4th grade is when my mom and my sister's dad split up. And I was on the bus, and, kids going through a divorce, they're not happy children. I was not a happy child. Let's just say that. I was a very angry child. And this kid, he would pick on everybody constantly, all the time. And as we're pulling out of the school, maybe doing about 5-10 miles an hour, we're on one of the school buses, and he's standing at the very back of the bus. I'm in about 4th grade, so I would have been about 7 or 8 years old. And he called me a bitch. He just stood up and called me a bitch. So me, being the psycho that I am, I just walked up to him, and he looked at me like I was gonna hit him. And I reached behind his back, and I yanked up the emergency door lever, and I grabbed my left hand, and I pushed his ass right out of the bus. Moving, by the way. He had bounced up over the yellow speed bump. We were only doing about 5 miles an hour, thankfully. I did get expelled for that, but that was the beginning of the end of my academics. I then got transferred to Lake Stevens, where we had moved. We moved from Marysville to Lake Stevens, which is just a town about maybe 10 miles from Marysville. And I was put into Lake Stevens Middle School. And there fights, and, I had a teacher that used to throw, stuff at us. Actually, in 4th grade, I had a teacher that would lock us in a crib. She ended up getting fired. But we had one teacher at the Lake Stevens Middle School that was actually sexually assaulting girls. So I really didn't like authority, believe it or not. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. And so I got into a lot of trouble. I was expelled numerous times, which you're probably wondering, how do you get expelled numerous times? Well, because not every expulsion is, forever. Some of them are for 2 weeks. Even though they're expulsions, you would think they would be suspensions. Or you can get them overturned or whatever. Well, then I finally got expelled from the entire school district. And then I got to 9th grade, and I ended up doing kind of like a packet thing, like a alternative middle school or alternative high school, where you just take your stuff home, you show up once a week, you grade it, and then you get credit for it. I ended up getting most of my credits that way, and then I dropped out. As many of you guys know who watched my Escape the Darkness series, I dropped out and was raising some kids that were not mine. Anyway, dropped out and ended up getting my GED way later in life. Next question is, what was your first job? My first job was Burger King, actually. Another question, and there's a lot of SimCity questions in here, you guys. I'll get to those closer to the end. A lot of those questions are questions that I've answered numerous times in numerous videos. All you have to do is just watch the videos, even type in the keywords and you'll get it. I will answer some of them, Not going to answer all of them, but I will answer some of them. Some of them are kind of unique, so we'll get to those here in just a second. All right. Do you have any siblings? Yeah, I do. I have a half-sister. Other than that, I have stepbrothers and sisters from her side, but like I said, they were divorced when I was about 8 years old, so we don't really speak or anything. Other than that, I have another half-brother on my dad's side that I don't even know his name. I don't talk to him. I don't even know who he is. I just know he's there somewhere. And that comes to one of these other questions, and that is your dad in your life? You never talk about him. No, he's not in my life. He left when I was very young. Actually, well, to break it down for you guys, when I was about 2 years old, my mom caught him at a strip club, and he had locked me in the car and left me in the car in a parking lot. And so she just broke the window out or whatever and took me, her and my grandma took me back up here to Marysville, because I was actually born in Portland, Oregon. And that's where they lived with me for the first year or two of my life. And then when that occurred, my grandma, who owned a house in Marysville, Washington, came down, picked my mom up, and brought me and my mom back up here to stay with her. And I basically haven't seen my dad since. He's been in and out of prison numerous times for all kinds of charges. First it was assault with a pool stick. Then it was forgery. He was doing some kind of bullshit with copier printer things. He was setting up these copiers, and he would go to these people's houses and he would get them to sign up for a 2-year warranty, take, $80, $100 or whatever for the warranty, and then he would never follow through with the warranty. He was writing bad checks, so he got a lot of time for that, 5 or 10 years or some shit. We started talking when I was about 16. I found him in prison. We wrote letters to each other, all the bullshit that they tell you in prison, promised when he got out that things, would be different, and that it was all my mom's fault why he wasn't in my life, and blah, 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 blah. He got me to move down to Colorado, sell my only house, sell everything, and take what little money I had to move down to Colorado to start fresh, to go to college, to whatever. And after I get there, I find out that he's living in a sex offender housing unit because his charges that he was in there for are actually for sexual offenses, which I did not know at the time. He then went back to prison again. All of my baby photos were confiscated from him and confiscated from the prison, which I didn't know. So whatever he was doing with my baby photos, yeah, he's one sick son of a bitch. Let's just put it that way. He does try to call and contact me once every 8 months when he gets drunk and he needs help with his computer, and I just don't even bother with him anymore. I ended up leaving Colorado. I drove to Colorado straight without any sleep. Got there in about 30 to 36 hours. And then within the first 6 hours of being there, I knew something was wrong. And we turned around and we came back. I drove all the way back to Wyoming. Again, still with no sleep since the time I left Washington. And by the time I got back to Washington, it was about 3 days. It was about a 72-hour trip there and back. He still hadn't even known that I had left. It took him 6 days to realize I wasn't in Colorado. That's after not seeing me since I was 2 years old. So yeah, that is why we don't speak. I do have an uncle on his side that tried to hit me up in a perverted way, so I don't talk to him. I have an aunt on that side who favors my dad, loves him to no end. He can do no wrong, so I don't really talk to her. Basically, the only side of my family that I talk to is my mom's side, and very few of them. Okay, so the next question, do you have kids? I do not have kids. I have raised a lot of kids that were not mine. I do not biologically have any kids of my own. I have endometriosis, which causes infertility, and that is why I don't have kids. I live with my cousins, and that's all I'm going to say about that for now. But yes, I do not have children at the moment. Okay, so how old am I? How old am I? I know I lost a year recently. Like, I totally forgot how old I was. I was born in 89. I think I'm turning 33. I know I lost a year. I was like, what the hell's going on? Yeah, I'm turning 33 in September. Okay. What else? Let's get on to the SimCity questions, because some of these other ones are just kind of weird. Let's see. Okay, so this person wants to know, how do I place bridges? Well, that's kind of a pain in the butt to answer, but I do have a 7-minute video you can watch. They're actually kind of a pain in the butt to place if you don't know what you're doing. But basically, bridges don't always place on the roads the way that you want them to. But if you draw the roads, like horizontally, and then place them, then you can bulldoze the edges around it and get it to look vertically. It's best to watch the video to fully understand what I'm trying to say. You also need to have the right amount of water there. So be sure that you have that. And then the road will not connect to the other road until there is a road on the opposing side. So, for instance, you have your bridge, and then it connects to the road. It's not going to connect to that side of the road until there's a road on the opposite side of that bridge. A lot of people ask, why is my bridge lifted up and not dropping down? That's because you have one extra piece of water there. You need to remove that piece of water, and then the bridge will drop down. Okay? It's waiting for another piece to be added when you have a piece of water after the bridge. All right, the next question. How do I get good at comm? I wish I could just answer that simply. You're going to have to binge watch my videos. You're going to have to, really... First, you have to identify what kind of technique you need to use, to high or low level. Once you've done that, then you're going to watch the 2022 comm guide video. High or low level, whichever one applies to you, okay? After that, it is very important that you watch the comm lingo video. That one I go in detail and I explain what all of the, things mean and why they're important, and that will better help you understand why you need to do it. I will say this, though. For all of you guys who are watching my comm videos and trying to learn the technique, I can honestly say that I would say about 80 to 90% of people that hit me up for help for the first time do not take screenshots, they don't do task assessments, and they don't have a clue what they're doing. They're just trying to do it all in their head without any structure. If you're one of those people who's not taking screenshots, you will not be able to progress to a certain point, okay? You might win because your competition is crap at the moment. But if you want to truly understand the technique and you want to win indefinitely, like when you go up against people who know what they're doing, it's really important that you do what you need to do and take the screenshots that you need to take and understand the concepts. Because when you don't take screenshots, when you come to me for help, like many people have done in the past week or in general, and you say, hey, what do I do next? I'm lost. I don't have any history of any of your assignments, and I don't have any doorway locations. I don't know which ones are your good doorways and which ones are your bad doorways. And if I don't know, you don't know. Because you didn't take any screenshots. And if you don't know that information, you cannot properly play. So it is very, very, very important that you do that, okay? It also helps you notice pattern. And when you come to me for help and you're wondering why you can't score, 30,000 higher every single week, I cannot help you unless I can tell you what it is you're doing wrong. And I can't see what you're doing wrong without seeing what you're doing. Okay, so it's really, 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 really important I can't stress that enough. And even after I tell many of you guys this, many of you guys will just continue not to take screenshots. And then in a week or two, you'll hit me up for help. Don't bother. Okay? Don't even bother. Like, seriously. Because I can't help you. I wish I could, but I cannot. So, take your screenshots, do your homework. You'll do better at it. All right? There's just too much to it to just simplify it and say, here, this is what you do. Go for it. I wish it was that simple. I wouldn't need 900 damn videos in a training course. All right. The next question. Is Omega worth it? Well, I guess it depends on what... Hold on. A lot of people ask me, is Omega worth it? And it really depends on what you mean by, is it worth it? Omega is something that... basically, let me put it to you this way. Everything within the game has a purpose to maximum efficiency. Okay, War does, Omega does, whatever. If you want maximum efficiency on services, you're going to buy Omega services. If you want to be able to play calm properly, you're going to have to build Omega canisters. You're going to have to upgrade your Omega bank a little bit. You're going to have to, progress. You're going to have to build a couple of Omega homes here and there to buy those services. There's ways that you're going to have to implement it into your game, okay, for maximum efficiency. If you don't like the look of Omega, that is what is important about it. You need those services. They don't have a pollution square, and they have a 100 unit coverage. Those go for any type of house, not just Omega house. Okay, so that's how you implement Omega efficiently, is for the contest of mayors and for services. Anything beyond that is purely either a waste or a preference. So if you like the look of Omega, then great. Go ahead, build it. By all means, okay? If you're doing it purely for the max population factor, you're wasting your time because you're going to get more pop by doing epic projects with Omega services than you would be to build Omega homes. The Omega service ratio is too high for Omega homes. Okay, so what it means is you're going to waste more of your map on putting Omega services down than you would by making epic projects. In turn, you'll yield less pop. And then you might be saying, well, epics are expensive. Yes, they are. It also depends on what, style you build. If you're doing a max pop build, you can go with something less than gold. I wouldn't do that, but you can. Either way, it's still going to be cheaper than making canisters, and buying all those damn Omega services and upgrading your Omega bank to a ridiculous amount. Because if you have that many Omega homes, you might as well just upgrade your Omega bank, right? In other words, it's worth it if you can implement it in the right way. Okay, certain aspects are going to be more beneficial to you than others. Watch my Omega videos for more in-depth information. Now, the next question is, why don't I like War? I'll tell you, okay? One, I don't find the War in this game to be entertaining. If I did, I would play it. If I found it to be fun, I would play it. Now, I'll tell you why I don't find it fun. Because, first off, let's start with the fact that it's not efficient, right? Everything that you get from playing War is so minuscule in comparison to what you give versus what you gain, right? So when you give so much of your regular items and convert those into War items, and when you're a high-level player, War deliveries are a bitch, okay? When you're not getting hit by the other team very much, then you have to do War deliveries, and that's going to cost you a lot of coin to do War attacks. Not to mention the amount of keys that it requires for you to upgrade your War cards past a certain point. Then you have to take into consideration how that affects your contest of mayors. Okay? So, there's that. Now, let's look at what you get out of it. At the end of a war, you get whatever you get in the VU Pass, which is, not at the end of the war, but when you play War, you get the VU Pass, okay? Then you get whatever, the victory or the defeat prize, which, by the way, are both garbage. I mean, it's great if you're not throwing away $1 million to do it. If you're just hitting for the purpose of the contest, then it's just a win-win. But if you're actually hitting to, like just play, you're going to spend a hell of a lot more than what you're gaining in return. Look at everything that you've spent and then look at what you got in return. Most of the war prizes are war related. It's like war boosters, war cards, war coins. So you're basically taking regular coin, keys, and cash, depending on if you're buying your war cards with cash, because a lot of people do. You're taking all those resources and you're turning them into a war number on your point screen, okay? And then you're able to bank in on the defeat or the victory prize and your VU pass. I can bank in on the victory prize and the VU pass without bankrupting myself by just playing for the purpose of the contest. See what I'm saying? So why would I want it? Basically, all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving myself a bigger score, a bigger number, to get the same thing. Which just means more tokens, more work, less keys. No, thank you. Now, if I actually enjoyed war in this game, if I found it to be fun, that would be a whole nother thing. I don't find the war aspect fun in this game. First off, we're hitting people with ducks and plungers. How ridiculous is that? Okay. Secondly, if I was going to play a war game, why out of all the games, what year is this, 2022? Have you seen the war games nowadays? We have some badass games. Why would I waste my time and money on SimCity Build It War? It's a joke. I mean, if I'm going to invest time, I want to have something to get back. Right? Now, if you actually enjoy it, that's a whole nother thing. I don't actually enjoy it, so there's that. Now, leaving that out of it. Also take into consideration hackers. Okay, so even if they don't necessarily hack their cards per se, so many people have these war groups and communities where they've got like 10 different groups and they've got 10 different cities. All their feeders are hacked with items. So they can just sit there and massively, disperse items to their group members. They can just have an infinite number of war items. And then they can sit there with their infinite number of everything, boosters, war items, whatever, and just annihilate you. And when you actually play the game, and you actually spend days building up all that revenue, it sucks when you have to go up against somebody who's hacked and isn't playing fairly. Okay? So, at that point, when you have two hacked people, going against each other, what is the point? You're just trying to see who can launch more boosters in one sitting? I don't get it. So, that's why I don't play more, okay? I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments, or you can send it to me in my inbox. I'll do another Q&A video later. But, yeah, that's it. Good luck to you guys this week in the contest. I do have a Patreon. You can check that out. Contest to Mayor's training tier is only $8 a month. I have a $23 tier that gives you everything, okay? I have an Escape the Darkness tier for $4, and then the bronze tier. I think like, subscribe. You can join us on Facebook at SimCity Build at MissyAnne YT, and we also have a Discord link down below.